A former slot machine technician once told me something that completely changed how I see casinos. He said, "Most slot machines tell you everything you need to know in the first $2. Not after an hour of play. Not after you're down $200. Not after you've been chasing bonuses all night long. $2. That's it." Because here's the thing. Casinos don't hide their worst machines with some elaborate secret. They hide them in plain sight, and almost nobody knows how to read the warning signs. Today, I'm going to reveal the $2 spin test. This is a quiet evaluation method that ex-slot technicians use to identify dead machines fast, avoid money traps, and decide which slots weren't even worth sitting down at. Now, before we go any further, let me be crystal clear about something. This doesn't force jackpots. It doesn't beat the random number generator. It doesn't guarantee you'll win. But what it does do is stop you from bleeding cash on machines that are mathematically designed to drain your bankroll as efficiently as possible. So here's my question for you right off the bat. Have you ever sat down at a slot machine that just felt completely dead from the very first spin? Everything about it felt cold, empty, lifeless. If that's ever happened to you, drop a yes in the comments. I want to see how many of you have experienced this exact feeling. Now, let's pull back the curtain and show you what ex-casino employees know about identifying these machines before they take your money. Before we dive into the actual test, you need to understand something fundamental about how slot machines work. Slot machines don't warm up. They don't get loose. And they are never, ever due to hit. I know you've heard people say things like, "This machine hasn't paid in hours. It's gotta hit soon." Or, "I've been feeding this thing for 30 minutes. It owes me." That's not how any of this works. The moment you press that spin button, your fate is already sealed. The outcome is decided by something called the random number generator, or RNG. This is a computer chip inside the machine that's generating thousands of random number combinations every single second, even when nobody's playing. The instant you hit spin, the RNG freezes on a set of numbers. Those numbers correspond to specific symbols on the reels. The reels you see spinning? That's just animation. That's theater. The machine already knows if you won or lost before the first reel even stops moving. Former slot technicians who've opened up thousands of these machines and run diagnostics on them will tell you this: timing doesn't work, lucky shirts don't work, and pressing the button with 2 fingers doesn't work. The outcome was determined by a mathematical algorithm the microsecond you committed your bet. But here's the part casinos don't explain to players. Different machines are programmed very differently, even when they look identical. Same theme. Same cabinet. Same flashing lights. Same sound effects. Completely different internal programming. And that programming reveals itself immediately if you know what to look for. Think about that for a second. Did you think the spinning reels were actually determining whether you win or lose? Or did you already know about the RNG? Be honest in the comments. I'm curious how many people truly understand this fundamental truth about slot machines. Let's talk about what ex-slot techs mean when they say a machine is dead. They don't mean the machine is broken. They don't mean it will never pay out. They don't mean the casino flipped some secret switch to shut it off. What they mean is this. The machine is currently behaving exactly like a high volatility, low engagement slot that is statistically unlikely to return anything meaningful in the short term. Let me break that down in plain English. Some slot machines are designed to pay rarely but huge. Others are designed to pay often but small. And some are designed to just bleed you slowly with almost no interaction at all. When techs say a machine is dead, they mean it's showing all the characteristics of that third type. Long dry spells. Minimal symbol interaction. No engagement events. No volatility indicators. These machines are engineered to drain bankrolls quietly and efficiently while giving players just enough hope to keep them seated. Former casino management will tell you that these machines serve a very specific purpose on the casino floor. They're not there to create excitement. They're there to extract maximum revenue from players who don't know any better. Alright, let's get into the actual test. This is what ex-slot technicians used when they were scouting the casino floor, and it's what advantage players use to this day. The entire test costs you $2. Maybe $3 if you want to be thorough. That's it. Here's exactly how it works. Always, always, always test at the absolute lowest allowed bet on the machine. Why does this matter? Because slot machine behavior does not change based on bet size. The RNG logic stays exactly the same whether you're betting 40 cents or $40. The only thing that changes is the payout amounts. So if you're testing a machine, there's no reason to risk more money than necessary. You're gathering information, not gambling. This is critical. You are not playing. You are testing. 2 spins minimum. 4 spins maximum. Anything beyond that and you're no longer evaluating the machine. You're gambling, and the psychological hooks are starting to take effect. The moment you go beyond 4 spins, you start thinking things like, well, I've already put in $2. Maybe just a few more spins. That's exactly what the casino wants. Set a hard limit. 2 to 4 spins. No exceptions. This is where the real skill comes in. Ex-slot technicians didn't just look at whether the machine paid out. They looked at how the machine behaved. Let me explain the difference. Positive engagement signals. These are signs that suggest a machine is at least alive and interactive. Frequent symbol stacking. You see multiple matching symbols lining up, even if they don't create a winning pay line. Bonus symbols landing but just missing. You get 2 scatters, and the third one lands 1 position away. That's called a near miss, and it indicates the machine is at least engaging with its bonus features. Wilds appearing early. Wild symbols show up on the reels, even if they don't result in big wins. Small line hits that interrupt losses. You're not winning much, but you're getting frequent small payouts that break up the losing spins. Reel slowdowns near feature symbols. The reels slowed down dramatically when landing near bonus triggers or jackpot symbols. This is programmed suspense, but it indicates the machine is designed for player engagement. Now, do any of these things mean a jackpot is coming? Absolutely not. But they do mean the machine is interacting with you. It's programmed to create engagement, suspense, and the possibility of larger payouts. That's what you want to see. Dead machine signals. On the flip side, here are the red flags that make experienced techs walk away immediately. Blank spins with no interaction. The reels spin, land, and nothing happens. No near misses. No symbol stacking. No wilds. Just empty, lifeless spins. Same low value symbols repeating. You keep seeing the same card symbols over and over. 9, 10, Jack, Queen. Nothing else. No variety. No wilds, no teasers, no suspense. The machine gives you absolutely nothing to hope for. Every spin feels mechanical and predictable. Fast, mechanical reel stops. The reels don't slow down. They don't create anticipation. They just stop instantly with no drama. Zero interruption of losses. Spin after spin after spin, you lose. No small wins. No partial hits. Nothing. When a machine shows this kind of pure emptiness across multiple spins, former technicians don't hesitate. They stand up and walk away. No emotion. No just one more spin. No hoping it will change. They recognize the pattern, and they move on. Here's a question for you. Have you ever noticed these patterns but ignored them because you were already invested in the machine? Drop a comment and let me know. No judgment. We've all been there. Let me explain the real reason this test has value. Slot machines are built around something called volatility curves. High volatility machines are programmed to have long stretches of losses followed by occasional massive payouts. Low volatility machines pay frequently but small amounts. And then there are machines that just bleed you steadily with almost no meaningful interaction. The $2 test helps you identify which volatility curve you're dealing with before you commit serious money. Former slot technicians knew this because they saw millions of spins in diagnostic logs. They understood that certain behavioral patterns emerge almost immediately, and those patterns are reliable indicators of how the machine is programmed. Think about it this way. If a machine is designed to engage players with frequent small wins and near misses, you'll see evidence of that programming within the first few spins. If a machine is designed to drain bankrolls with minimal interaction, you'll see that too. The machine's internal programming doesn't hide itself. It reveals itself constantly through the symbols it displays, the frequency of interactions, and the rhythm of the reels. Professional advantage players use this exact approach when they're scouting casino floors. They don't sit down and dump $100 into a random machine hoping for the best. They test multiple machines with minimal investment, identify the ones showing positive engagement signals, and then make an informed decision about where to play. Now, let's be completely honest about the limitations of this test, because I don't want anyone walking into a casino thinking they've discovered some magic formula. The $2 spin test does not predict jackpots. It does not beat the RNG. It does not change the mathematical odds of the machine. And it does not make slot machines profitable in the long term. Slot machines are designed to take your money over time. That's a mathematical fact built into every game through something called the house edge. What this test does do is the following. It prevents fast bankroll destruction. It filters out machines that are programmed for aggressive extraction. It improves your session longevity by helping you avoid the worst machines on the floor. And it helps you choose machines with volatility that better matches your playing style. That alone puts you ahead of 90% of players who walk into a casino. Most people just sit down at whatever machine looks appealing, has a fun theme, or happens to be available. They don't evaluate. They don't observe. They just start playing and hope for the best. If you're willing to spend $2 and 4 spins to gather information before committing real money, you're already making smarter decisions than the vast majority of casino players. What's your take on this? Do you think testing machines before playing is worth the effort, or do you prefer just picking one and going for it? Let me know in the comments. Here's something important to understand about casino psychology. Casinos don't actually need you to lose fast. What they need is for you to stay seated, keep spinning, and remain emotionally invested in the machine. Dead machines are perfect for this. They feel quiet. They feel like they're due to hit. They make players think, it's been so long since this thing paid. It has to do something eventually. That keeps you playing. That keeps you feeding money into the machine. And that's exactly what the casino wants. The $2 spin test breaks that psychological trap by giving you objective information before the emotional investment begins. When you test a machine and see nothing but dead spins, you walk away. You don't develop hope. You don't start chasing. You don't fall into the sunk cost fallacy of thinking, I've already put in $50. I might as well keep going. You just move on to the next machine. Former casino pit bosses will tell you they'd much rather have players who sit at one machine for hours, convinced it's about to pay, than players who are constantly moving around testing different games and making informed decisions. The more rational and disciplined you are, the less money you're likely to lose. And casinos are designed to discourage rational, disciplined behavior. There is exactly one type of slot machine where the $2 spin test doesn't apply, and you need to know about it. Must hit by progressives, also called mystery progressives. These machines have a jackpot meter with a range. For example, the jackpot starts at $100 and must hit by $200. Or it starts at $4,000 and must hit by $5,000. Here's how they work behind the scenes, according to former technicians who've serviced these games. The moment the previous jackpot is won and the meter resets, the machine's computer randomly selects a secret trigger number somewhere within that range. Let's say it picks $4,738.42. That number is completely hidden from players. All you see is the current meter value and the maximum. As people play, the meter climbs. A small percentage of every bet gets added to the jackpot pool. The instant the meter crosses that hidden predetermined number, the very next spin wins the jackpot automatically. It doesn't matter what symbols land on the reels. It doesn't matter if you're betting minimum or maximum. Whoever happens to trigger that hidden number wins it. This is the only type of jackpot where observation and mathematics actually matter. If you see a must-hit by jackpot sitting at $4,950 out of a $5,000 maximum, you know for certain it's mathematically close to triggering. You don't know exactly when, but you know it can't go past $5,000. Professional advantage players actively hunt for these machines when they're close to the maximum because the expected value shifts in the player's favor. Let me give you a real example of how this works. You find a must-hit by jackpot currently at $195, with a maximum of $200. You observe the machine and calculate that it takes $2.50 in wagers to move the meter 1 penny. That means to push the meter from $195 to the absolute maximum of $200 would require $1,250 in total wagers. Now, you're not going to lose all $1,250 because the slot has a base game return. Let's assume it's 85%, which is typical. That means on average, you get back $1,062.50 from the base game. Your expected loss on the base game would be $187.50. But you'd win at least $195 when the jackpot hits, possibly more depending on where the hidden trigger is set. Do the math. You'd expect to wager $1,250, get back $1,062.50 from the base game, and win roughly $197.50 from the jackpot on average. Total return is about $1,260. You'd come out $10 ahead. That's a positive expected value situation, and it's the only time in casino gambling where you can legitimately say you have an edge on a slot machine. But here's the catch. You need a bankroll large enough to handle variance. Just because the math says you should profit doesn't mean you will on that particular session. You could get unlucky, hit a terrible stretch on the base game, and burn through $2,000 before the jackpot finally triggers. If your bankroll was only $500, you'd be wiped out before you could realize the expected value. That's why this strategy is really only viable for serious advantage players with proper bankroll management. For must-hit by jackpots, the $2 spin test is irrelevant. The machine's behavior doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is how close the meter is to the maximum and whether the math works in your favor. Have you ever seen one of these must-hit by jackpots close to the maximum with people camping on it? If you have, that's exactly what was happening. Those were advantage players grinding out positive expected value. Before we wrap this up, let me share a few insider secrets that casinos would prefer you didn't understand. Secret number 1, not all versions of the same game are equal. A casino can order different software versions of a popular slot with completely different odds. Two Buffalo machines sitting 10 feet apart might have vastly different chances of hitting big wins because they're running different pair sheets. There's no way for you to tell just by looking at them. They look identical, but their internal programming is totally different. Secret number 2, the bigger the license theme, the worse the odds usually are. Games based on movies, TV shows, or celebrities have to pay licensing fees. Those fees come out of the player's return. So a Game of Thrones slot or a Friends slot will typically have tighter odds than a generic game with no licensing costs. The casino knows this. They're banking on players choosing those games anyway because of the familiar branding. Secret number 3, machines aren't hot or cold. They're just experiencing normal variance. This is one of the most stubborn myths in gambling, and it's completely false. Every spin is independent. Past results have zero influence on future results. A machine that just paid out 3 bonuses in 30 minutes has the exact same odds of paying a bonus on the next spin as a machine that hasn't paid one all day. The RNG doesn't have memory. It doesn't know what happened 5 spins ago or 5,000 spins ago. What players interpret as hot or cold is just random variance playing out within the machine's programmed volatility. Have any of these secrets surprised you? Which one did you not know? Tell me in the comments. Alright, so here's what you need to take away from all of this. If you're going to play slot machines, go in with your eyes open and a clear strategy. Use the $2 spin test on regular slots to identify machines that show positive engagement signals. If a machine feels dead within 2 to 4 spins, walk away immediately. Don't chase. Don't hope it changes. Just move on. For must-hit by progressives, ignore the test and focus purely on the math. If the meter is close to the maximum and you have the bankroll to handle variance, those are the only times you have a legitimate edge. For standard progressive jackpots, understand that the odds are extremely long and the base game return is usually lower to fund the big prize. Only play them if you can afford to bet the maximum and if you treat it as entertainment, not a realistic way to make money. Always remember, the outcome is decided the instant you press spin. Everything after that is just showmanship. The machine isn't hot or cold. It's random. And the casino set the odds long before you ever sat down. Now I want to hear from you. After everything you've learned in this video, Are you going to start using the $2 spin test next time you're in a casino? Drop your answer in the comments. And if this video changed the way you think about slot machines, hit that like button, subscribe for more casino insider secrets, and share this with anyone who loves playing slots. The more people who understand how these games really work, the better decisions we can all make. Remember, slot machines are designed to be exciting. They're designed to make you dream. That's fine as long as you understand you're paying for entertainment, not making an investment. Play smart, set limits, and I'll see you at the casino. Good luck out there.